attention, because all this stuff has to go in your daily report. All yours.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We're going to talk about PPE quickly today so we can get into the lab. So PPE, just personal protective equipment. Why is PPE important? PPE is our last line of defense against hazards on the job site. There are 3 others I'll go through in the next slide. But if all those other things fail, you want to be wearing your PPE so that nothing bad happens to you. In 2016, 991 people died on construction sites. I don't know if the statistic is, I don't know the details, but I'm sure that at least some of them could be prevented if proper PPE was worn. And OSHA requires the use of PPE to reduce employees' exposure to hazards. That's kind of a given. So this is the hierarchy of controls as put out by OSHA. First is the complete elimination or substitution, so getting rid of the hazard altogether. The next one down is engineering controls, so this requires a physical change to the workplace. This is like adding railings so you don't fall off the building or something like that. And then administrative and workplace controls, these don't do anything. It requires a worker or employer to do something. It's like signage, danger, caution tape, stuff like that. And then our last line of defense, as I said before, is PPE. So we're going to talk about hard hats real quick. Class of hard hats, class G. This is for impact and penetration in low voltage. This is what most likely all of your hard hats are. This is pretty typical that normal construction workers wear these around the job site. Class E is for electrical and utility work. They also protect against falling objects and impact, but this is what your linemen are going to wear. Your high voltage electricians are going to wear, most of your electricians most likely. And then Class C is just conductive. It's made for comfort, limited protection, not even for falling objects or impacts, more of you're crawling in a crawl space and you lift your head up and hit your head on the ceiling or something like that. This is probably what like architects and engineers wear when they come on site. They just grab a hard hat out of their truck and come on site just to walk through to the safety office or whatever. So eye and face protections is really important for pretty much all work that you do. Safety glasses should be worn on site at all times, just in case you're walking by somewhere, turn a corner, and somebody's doing some work. They're made for moderate impact and dust, but they can protect you from a lot of things. Safety goggles, impact dust and splashes, those should be worn during using chemicals. Face shields, splashes, or sprays, these are not for eye protection, despite what most people think. Face shields don't cover your eyes enough to be considered eye protection. They're more for when you're grinding or working with dust particles to protect your face, not your eyes. Welding face shields, obviously for welding, they protect from red lights that come from welding and other infrared light radiation. Hand protection, so obviously you're going to use different gloves for different hazards. You're not going to want to use cut-resistant gloves when you're working with chemicals because chemicals are going to go right through the chain link or whatever it is. So they need to be fit snug so that you can still have dexterity and feel what you're doing. Because if you can't feel what you're doing, you're just going to be more unsafe. So before working with gloves, you always want to inspect them for cuts, tears, and excessive wear. Because if your gloves are in bad condition, then they're not going to protect you like they're supposed to. And that kind of goes for all PPE. You always want to make sure that you inspect and make sure that it's in working condition so that it can do its job. Hearing protection, normal speaking voice is about 70 decibels, but construction work is usually up around like 110, 120. So hearing loss starts at 85 decibels, which doesn't sound like a lot, but truck traffic, if you're standing right next to a highway, is right around 90. So you want to implement effective hearing conservation program, give out earplugs, earmuffs, anything that can help protect your employees. Foot protection, protection against falling objects, sole piercings. So if you're walking around a construction site and you have nails, screws, whatever on the ground, you don't want to be tennis shoes so that you step on a rusty nail, have to go to the hospital, get a tetanus shot. Nobody wants to do that. And slip resistant and puncture resistant soles. Obviously, there's a lot of different things on a construction site that oil, grease, diesel fuel, anything that's going to be on the floor that can cause a slip, fall, anything like that. Slip resistant shoes are a necessity when you're it's recommended hard toe now. It used to be steel toe, but there's been a couple incidents lately that steel or something heavy falls on the steel toe boot, crushes your foot, and crushes the steel as well. So that's kind of pointless to have steel toe boots on if your steel's going to get crushed anyway. So they're recommended hard toe, which are harder than steel, and if they break, they shatter instead of just bending and crushing your foot in your boot. So you have to get your boots sawn off instead. You don't have to get your boots sawn off instead of, So as an employer, your responsibility is, and this is also if you're kind of superintendent or like an assistant superintendent, you have to determine what PPE and if PPE is necessary. So obviously different PPE for different situations. You're not going to be wearing a welding mask while you're putting up siding. There's no reason for that, just blinding your view at that point. So, and also implement a PPE program. So you have to, as an employer, you have to address hazards and maintain and select the PPE for your employees. That is not their responsibility to know that they need to wear a hard hat. You have to make that very specific, very clear in your safety orientations that hard hats, safety glasses, high vis, all that general PPE is worn on site at all times. And your PPE training, obviously, you need to start that on every job for every employee. Over this 2 summers ago, I was on site at IU, and we had guys that would come on for a couple hours just to do like 1 or 2 jobs and then leave, and we still had to sit them down at 7 o'clock in the morning, go through the whole half an hour safety spiel with them on every hazard and everything else that was on site, make sure that they knew that they had to wear PPE at all times, whether they were inside, outside, it doesn't matter, just to keep everybody safe on site. So employers are also responsible for paying for some PPE, not all. So some examples up there are non-prescription eye protection. So if you wear glasses and you don't wear contacts, your employer is not required to pay for your prescription safety glasses. So if you have a firefighting program also on site, or somebody that's like a fire watch, you're supposed to provide that. Fire extinguishers, hard hats obviously, welding PPE is a must, and metatarsal foot protection, which is the picture on the side, kind of protects the upper half of your foot where the steel toe and the hard toe ends. So these are some of the exemptions. Clothing solely used for protection from weather, so jackets, hats, just comfort gloves, leggings or like long underwear or whatever for insulation when you're working outside in the winters. Lifting belts. This is not if you've had a previous injury from lifting something that wasn't while you were on site or on the job. Employer does not have to provide lifting belts or anything to support your back while you're lifting heavy items. But if you've had an injury on site, then that's a different story. It's a lot more complicated. But they also don't have to replace lost or intentionally damaged PPE. So if you're irresponsible and throw your hard hat in your truck and then, I don't know, it falls out. I don't know how it would fall out of your truck, but that's the example. So then you'd be responsible for buying a new hard hat. And then everyday clothing, obviously, your employer's not required to buy you jeans and socks. So the employee responsibility, a lot less than the employer. All you have to do, wear your PPE, be safe, do what the superintendent or the assistant superintendent tells you to, wear your PPE, care for and store your PPE properly. So that includes inspecting and making sure that your PPE is in working good condition. If your PPE, say your gloves are worn, that's when your employer is required to buy you a new pair of gloves. That doesn't count as like misuse of PPE. Normal wear and tear happens. So if you have gloves or hard hat or safety glasses that are broken or worn down, just make sure to go and find someone who set up PPE. So we're just gonna wrap up here with, I think, one question. So what are the 3 crafts and hard hats anybody remember from the third slide, I think?
CG.
Perfect, good job, thanks for paying attention. There we go. Any questions from anyone, comments? Yeah.
When do you have to use like the metatarsal attachment here?
So, my dad has a steel fabrication shop, so it's a big steel warehouse where they do welding, cutting, bending, everything like that. He requires them because they're working around steel all day. I don't know, we didn't have them wear them when we were on site at IU, but I would assume that like iron workers would wear them because they were always working around steel, heavy objects. If you're consistently around things that could fall on your foot, I would recommend it.
Remember, some PPE is mandated by your insurance company.
Right.
They're like, hey, you're gonna have workers' comp insurance for his dad's company. Here's one of the ways we'll write the policy. It's mandatory that everybody has that